So how long does it take you to edit?
Oh, I don't edit any of the full episode. So if you screw up, it's in there. There's no editing at all. But I'll take like clips of it, like you've seen. I'll take like 20, 30 seconds of it and then post it. But yeah, the whole episode, I ain't editing it. So make sure we're good. See that red box?
Yes.
Means we're recording and we are live.
Oh, awesome.
So what's going on?
Hey, it's a great day.
It is, isn't it? It's a nice spring morning in Michigan.
Just wait 5 minutes, the weather will change.
I know. So where do we begin?
At the beginning.
Yes. How long you been in the business?
6 years, 6.5 years.
Okay. All right. So take me back to the beginning. Like, how'd you get started? How did you, what was your first year like? What challenges did you face? Just walk me through everything.
So the first year I had been a stay-home mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew for years that I wanted to get into real estate. I really liked it. I liked things about it. Many years ago, like in the very late 80s, I worked in commercial real estate. I worked on the administrative side.
Okay.
I worked for an awesome boss named Jim Light. Shout out to Jim Light. And he was a great mentor, teacher, everything. But I worked on the administrative side. I did a lot of leases and a lot of the commercial stuff. But then that always sat well with me. I was fairly good at it, and I very much enjoyed it. So then I wanted something to do as I got older and the kids got older that I could do, and real estate had always been in the back of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So when the timing was right and my kids were either grown and out of the house or old enough, then I thought this is the time. I had been a stay-home mom who helped at the school. So I was working at the school just part-time. The little kids, I love kids.
Yeah.
And I decided that this was the time to do it. So I took a class, and I was super nervous about taking the test. I backed out 3 times.
Did you really?
Yeah, because I've had brain surgery. I had a brain tumor.
Yeah.
And I really struggled with memory issues. So I was nervous I didn't want to prove that I was dumb or less intelligent than I had been before. So I was super nervous to take the test. So I crammed, and then I backed out, and then I crammed, and I didn't take the test. And the third time I'm like, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And if I can't remember, I can't remember. And I totally passed on the first try. I'm like, okay, I'm not dumb. So passed the brain tumor, all of those things, surgery, all of those things, and I was fine. And I fell in love with it. So the first year I started, I was still helping at the school, so I couldn't give it as much time as I had wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But I really loved being in the office. Darwin was our manager at the time, and I loved being in there and listening to him and just absorbing through osmosis and learning more and more about it. So then my first 2 clients were me, because I bought a house.
Yeah.
And somebody that I went to church with, somebody from my sphere.
Mm.
And he knew that I was new, and he took a chance on me, and he was the best person to be my first real client, just a gem of a human. And it was great. So from there, I was a little bit slow to the party. Like, it took me a little while to get going. I was still helping at the school, and I knew that if I wanted to do this for a job, that I needed to let that go. And that was really a hard decision for me, because I really enjoyed helping those little kids, like little 4 and 5-year-olds. And
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. But I just like helping people. So this is a great way to do it. I just get to transition from children to adults.
Yeah. Which sometimes they're pretty similar
That's
with the way they behave. Yeah.
true.
So you've transitioned from working at the school helping out the kids to now you're full-time real estate. And you were a couple years in the business, and you were right around the $2 million mark, right?
It took me a couple years to get there.
Yeah.
I was really slow. I didn't want to put myself out there. I didn't want to be pushy.
Mm.
I wasn't born with that sales gene that everybody just seems to have. I'm just Stephanie, and I like to help people. So I just had to get out of my mind
Mm-hmm.
and realize I'm just here to help people. And then once I made that conscious shift, it took me a few years to get a couple million. And then when I did, that was awesome. But I didn't know what was to come. Like, I didn't know that there was more I could do.
So what helped you get over that, mental barrier of you feeling like you're being pushy by asking for business? Is it something that happened? Is it a mindset shift? Like, what happened?
It was the mindset shift. So that was where coaching comes in. And I had always done boot camp with Darwin. And he's awesome and amazing. And if I could just download all of the knowledge in his head down into mine, that would make my life so much easier. And I've got a lot of his ideas in my head now because I've been to boot camp so many times. But it was that coaching. It was that one-on-one. And I was really scared to do it. And I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to be held accountable. And I didn't want to have to do the difficult things. And I like to talk to people, but I didn't want to be pushy. But I'm not pushy. That's not me. I just want to help people. And once I realized that was where I was coming from, it's fine. I don't have a sales gene. I'm not a salesperson. I'm here to help you in one of the largest transactions that you're going to have in your life and make it as pleasurable and as easy as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a mind shift, but it was coaching that gave me confidence and the knowledge and understanding and the different scenarios that I would encounter to realize, I'm just totally here to help people. And then it was fine. It was great.
Yeah.
Like, it took off.
Well, I remember because I was still working out of the Fenton office at that time with you. And I would go by your desk like every day. All right, you ready to sign up? You ready to sign up? Ready? Nope. And then finally one day you're like, yeah, I'm ready. So what caused you to feel like you could invest and, dive in really feet first into, I'm doing a couple million, but I want more. Now I'm going to invest and do coaching. So what was that? What helped you get over that hump?
So if I'm going to do something, I want to do it right. And I want to go full in. Like, if I'm going to do something, I want to be the best at what I'm going to do. I don't want to just kind of wind my way through it. I want to be good, and I want to bring value to people, right? If they're going to trust me to do something, I want to be top notch and know what I'm talking about, and to be able to serve them in the best possible way. My goal is to provide every client with world-class service. And if I'm going to do that, then I need to bring my A game. And in order to bring my A game, I needed to know what I needed to do. And that was where you came in.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I'm just going to do it. Oh, it was like nail biting. I was so scared.
And I mean, yeah, because your first full year, you kind of went from that $2.5 million all the way up to $6 million.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like, what difference was it really besides you building the confidence and the skill set, doing it and coaching? Because I didn't really teach you anything special, did I?
Well, yeah, but it's the confidence. It's the doing the things that you need to do that might be a little uncomfortable.
Like video?
Those videos. And I just looked like I was so angry and mean. Oh my gosh, that was so funny. Because that's not my personality at all. I'm like kind of a little silly, a little goofy, but I mean, I'm pretty fun. But boy, those videos I came across as just angry, mean, shooting eye daggers at you. So that was an eye-opener for me. So I'm like, if I'm doing that with you, I wonder if I'm doing that with my clients when I'm meeting with them. Because that's not my personality at all.
Probably not, but she's referring to our listing presentation mastery that we do. So what we do is we go through listing presentation, we work on the script work on, the handling objections, but then I actually film them in doing their listing presentation video. And so what we found from Stephanie is that when she was presenting, she was like hard look, like RFP face, just, and I think it was a lot. You weren't conscious of it because you were just so focused and thinking about what you were doing. And who knows if that's what we were doing with clients. And if they don't know you and they don't know your personality, it may come across as like, I don't know if I want to work with her.
Right.
She's a little mean.
So I needed to overcome that. And I think I was just nervous about being recorded and all of those things. I don't think I come across like that in real life. I know I definitely don't do that now. So yeah, but it was definitely confidence. So I think confidence played a big role in taking me and tripling my business. Like it was just that you can do this. You've got this. You totally know what you're doing, and just go out and help people. So it was just such a mind shift, and I wasn't even aware that it was happening. It just happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I remember you telling me, this was a couple years ago, you're like, I really want to have this or this. I think it was like, I either want to have like a traveling camper or I want to have a house up north or something like that.
Yes.
I'm like, why can't you have both?
Yes.
And like the light bulb went off. You're like, I don't know. Why can't I?
Right.
Like that limited belief system that's what so many people face with until they confront that and realize, no, you don't have to pick one or the other. If you're willing to do the work, you can have both.
I wrote, don't limit yourself on a Post-it note, and I still have that by my monitor on my at home. I still have it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so building the confidence, because I want to stick on that because it's super important. Do you feel like the majority of that confidence came from doing the skill building stuff that we did, or just continuously doing the work every day? Because, I'm checking in with you every morning, and how much of it was, skill work as opposed to just showing up and doing the work every day?
It's both. It's both. You need both because you need the skills to be able to do it, and you need some kind of daily accountability to remind you, oh, yeah, I've got to be working on it. It's both. You really do need somebody to kind of push you and guide you if you're not pushing yourself. And now I can kind of know what my day's going to look like. Now I'm structured enough that I can just go out and do it and attack it. But you really need the skills for the confidence. So, and that needs to continue because as technology changes and as the market changes, we need to be able to take all the tools that we have and be able to use them. So that is a constant, as far as technology goes. And, we always need to be improving ourselves, right? So as soon as we get complacent, we can run into trouble. Don't ever be complacent, always be looking to grow. So the skill building is very important, but also that daily accountability. And that's where coaching comes in. Like it's a good, I've got to make sure I, get on that. And you send out some pretty great things that kind of help us think a little deeper and take a little introspective of ourselves and go, oh yeah, that's great. I need to be able to, apply that in my life in some way. And that's really helpful. For me, that's incredibly helpful.
Yeah. And the majority of it just comes from, because, I read a lot.
Yes.
So that's where, myself, how I dive into it is I just read a lot, philosophy, psychology, and all that other stuff. And that's where it comes to me. And then I pass it to you guys because it's like, Jesus, I thought this was incredibly valuable. I'm going to throw it out to you. And yeah, I get a lot of good feedback from you guys because you don't get those questions or conversations on a daily basis because not a lot of people think like that.
Well, and some things like really kind of hit you probably more than others, maybe just by what's going on in your world
where
at that
you're
moment.
At in life. Yep.
Because, there was one, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but, it's not what you say you're going to do, it's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that
you are
you.
you are what you do, not what you say you're going to do. And I'm like, oh, that is so true. Because I can say, oh yeah, I'm going to do this and that and this and that. And then if none of it happens, what value did it bring anyone? So you've got to be able to go out and do those things that you need to do.
Yep.
So that was I'm like, aha, that light bulb went off. And I went, okay, I need to be one of those people and not one of those people.
Yeah, absolutely. You are not what you say you're going to do, you are what you decide to do, right? And that's a Carl Jung quote, and he's a psychologist. But to that point, not only does it not bring any benefit, it provides a huge detrimental to your psyche and your confidence level because if you say, yeah, I want to do all this stuff, and then you don't follow through, it's like you're pretty much telling yourself that you're not worth following through on your commitments.
Right. Well, and then you feel like a failure, and then you lose your motivation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because work can be hard. It's fun. It's mostly fun. Sometimes it's really hard, but you can find joy in everything. And when you realize, oh, I should have done this or that, like you start bringing yourself down, you talk yourself down. And I think you can be a little less successful if you fall into that trap. So you just need to go, just do the things, talk to people. Really, real estate is talking to people.
That's it.
That's all it is.
That's it.
And writing up contracts. And there's other stuff. But
yeah, but it's taking action. It's making that choice, right? So many people suffer from paralysis by analysis, right? Meaning that I'm not going to do anything until I think I have it all figured out. You ain't never going to have it all figured out.
That is so me. That is me to a T. I didn't want to, that is so me. Because I don't want to start something and then have it be dumb or stupid or look or sound, whatever. And what I realize is I'm not going to be good at everything I do immediately. It's going to take time to grow and learn and, make a mistake or say something silly, but everything, you can overcome everything.
Absolutely.
And that is how we learn and grow. And that is how we constantly improve. We need to put ourselves in those positions. And I was one who didn't want to be
Mm-hmm.
in that position. But there's this little competitive side of me that likes to be like, oh, I can't let them. I've got to be. So that side of Stephanie came out. That was fun to see.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I used to be quiet and shy. I'm not quiet.
Nope,
and I'm
that's
not
gone. That's
shy
what I mean. You're a totally different agent than you were a couple
anymore.
years ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But to that point, too, a lot of people, whether agents or people in business in general, they focus so much on the end result that when they don't get there as fast as they want, they think they're failing, but they're not. You should be focused on the process to get you there every single day,
Right.
right? And the failures that are going to come in between, because you can't not do something because you're afraid to fail, because failure is inevitable. And like I tell you guys, it's information, it's valuable, right? It's experience. So that way, when you fail at something, you can now go into that situation better prepared the next time because you know how to handle it differently.
Exactly. Well, and life is going to throw all kinds of things at us. So we're going
Yeah,
to
you just nonchalantly said you had a brain tumor. Like that's insane. That's crazy.
yeah, that one took a little bit of overcoming. And I was really scared to take that test, but here I am and I'm fine.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I do have to write everything down, but I'm great. And it made me a little quirky, which I think helps me in my relationships because I think I'm more relatable now maybe than I was before because I'm not perfect, but I mean, it's not boring to be with me, that's for sure.
Nobody's perfect, but you brought up competition too, which is funny because people who meet you, you're like the nicest, outgoing, bubbly person there is, but you have a competitive side. So what really tapped into that? Did you get a taste of like, hey, this is what I can be, this is what's possible, and then it's like, all right, let's figure it out.
Yeah, yes. So I would never call me a competitive person, but until now, like I know I can do something. Now that I know I can do it, I want to take that as far as I can take it and be as helpful as I can with it and do the best I can with it. That's just how I am. So now that I know that it's there, like it's almost wrong to not use it.
Mm-hmm.
So now I want to take it and go, oh, well, if they can do that, I can do that. Like I can do more than that. I can be better. So yeah, it's all internal. But now when you know what you're capable of, you want to hit that level and then you want to exceed that level.
Absolutely. Well, that's where the competitive edge kicks in, right? Because for me too, I'm super competitive, but I'm most competitive with myself, right? Because there are things that I don't want to do throughout the day, but I don't negotiate with myself. Like I got to work out 6 days. It's not an option. Like I'm not going to, well, I don't feel like it. There's plenty of days where I don't feel like it, but it's non-negotiable. I don't negotiate with myself.
That's your
It
thing.
needs to get done, right? But to your point, yeah, that's kind of what I'm hearing is you saw what was possible,
Yeah.
what you could actually do, the potential. And it's like, all right, let's freaking find out if we can do this and how far we can go.
And now that I've done it, now I want, well, if I can do that, I can take it to the next level. So why not? Why not take it to the next level, right?
Yeah.
So now you set the bar high and then you keep taking it up a notch.
But isn't it funny? A couple of years ago, you may not even known that level existed.
Right.
And it's always been there.
It's all in your head. You have to get out of your own head. You are your own worst enemy and you set your own limitations. Nobody else sets those but you.
Yep. Limitations are all self-imposed. So is fear. Fear is self-imposed.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's not even real.
Yeah.
Right?
That's so true.
So getting into, all right, so you start to take off, you go from $2.5 to $6 million. Where does the majority of your business come from?
It's from my sphere. Almost over 80% of my business comes from my sphere, and then referrals from my sphere. It's all my sphere. They're my people, and I love my people. I want to take the best possible care of my people. They become my mother or my sister or my uncle or my child, and I treat them the way I would want somebody to treat my family. They are my people, and I love my sphere. They're
So
awesome.
how do you work your sphere? How do you communicate that as like, hey, you're one of my people, you're one of my part of my family? How does that look?
So I just talk to them. I talk or I text, or sometimes I'll send them a video text.
Yep.
I just keep in contact with them. They're, hey, how you doing? And I mostly don't talk real estate. I mean, sometimes I do. It might be hey, I'm in the car driving and I had a moment in between appointments and I was just thinking of you and I just wanted to call and say, hey, can you go to lunch? Or I drove by your grandma's house and, how's she doing? It's just a conversation So I don't normally, most of the time, bring up real estate. It just happens in the conversation in a very low-key way. And I just want to know what's going on in the world or if they need anything.
Mm.
So a lot of my clients, a lot of my sphere are here from out of state and they don't have family here.
Mm.
So, I want to I'm very maternal and I want to make sure they're okay and taken care of. And so, hey, what's going on? What do you need? Can I bring you a drink from the gas station? Like it's stupid stuff, but they're my people and I feel like I'm taking care of them. And I think that they feel like they're being taken care of, but I just call them or text them. Really, that's all it is. Or a little video text. That's all it is.
Isn't that crazy? Every person that I've talked to about who worked their sphere of influence very heavily almost never ask for business. They just focus on building the relationship with their people. And that's the same thing that you're talking about.
Right. Well, and I think when people know that you genuinely care about them, they know you've got their best interest at heart, they're more likely to trust you.
Mm.
So if people know that I truly care about them and I like them and they know what I do, they're going to come ask for my opinion. They're going to come ask me questions.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm here for, right? I'm just here to help them. And that's whatever that looks like. Maybe it's just information. Maybe it's getting them ready to list their home. They know they're going to need to sell or they're going to want to buy. And what does that look like? How do they get started?
Mm.
But really, it's just building that trust so that they can come to you.
Not only when that trust is built, but then you have loyalty and you have loyal past clients and you get referrals, which you're getting a lot of referrals now.
Right. Yeah. I'm lucky enough that I've been in the business long enough that those referrals are coming in. And that makes you feel good.
Absolutely.
That makes you feel so good.
It means you did a job well done.
Right. Right. And I get to help their people. So their people become my people.
Mm-hmm. And it just keeps growing and growing and growing.
Right.
And you get to a point to where just referrals coming at you left and right because of all that business you did right over the years is starting to pay off.
Right. Well, and that's enjoyable. That's very fulfilling for me. That makes me really happy.
Yeah, servant leader, just like the other people I've talked to. So you mentioned earlier on that we always got to be adapting, we got to be growing, we got to be nimble on our feet based on what's going on. And a piece of your business that we've been working on, which is video, right? So kind of share about that because back in the day, you wouldn't even get in front of a camera.
I don't like how I look. I don't like how I sound.
Nobody does.
I'm an extra curvy girl. Like I don't like how I look out there. But when people meet me, they're going to see who I am and how I am and my little quirks or whatever. So I just needed to get over it. So I got over myself and I'm starting to do video. Like I'm working on, and why not? People need information. One of the feedback I got from one of my clients, and it hurt my feelings, and I bent over backwards for these people, and I was so sad. They knocked me down a star, and I was at 2 a.m. on the phone because you were like on the other side of the world, and I thought I bent over backwards, but they said, we need more information about the process that we can access when you're not available. And I went, oh, they wanted like a PowerPoint presentation or a video or something to educate them. And I went, oh, that didn't even occur to me. I thought I was doing all great, and I wasn't. And I thought this is a good learning opportunity for me, and video gives people that. They can go on YouTube and pull you up and find out anything that they need to know, or, Instagram or anywhere. That helps people. It gives people information that they need in the time when they're available to consume it, not at 2 or 2:30 in the morning when I was up trying to help them.
Right.
So I realized that I needed to do better. And that was a good learning opportunity for me. And that kind of was a mind shift, like, okay, I really just need to do video. Mm-hmm. Video is where it's at. People are going to see what I look like anyway. They're going to meet me, hopefully, anyway. And people just really need information. What is helpful to them? If I want to help people, I need to take it to the people so that they can have what they need. And then, eventually, hopefully, they're going to trust me, and then they will become part of my sphere, and I can help them too.
Absolutely. And you hit on a good point too, that especially the younger demographic, they consume video and content all the time. And that gives you an opportunity not only to provide value to your people, but also give them a good insight of who you are personality wise and what it would be like to work with you.
Right. Because, I'm just me. They're going to meet me anyway. Hopefully they're going to see, and maybe video will say, hey, it's, this is what she's like and this is what she is, or they can be like, she's not for me, and they move on. And that's okay. I won't ever know the difference, but they can kind of pick and choose who they want in their world to help them. I mean, hopefully it's me, but if it's not me, they can get what they need, and that's what's the most important thing.
Yeah, I'm going to put you on the spot in a second, but
No.
so the biggest thing is, I mean, the corporate branding and the company is important, but more often than not, people want to know what your personal brand is. Like, what do you represent? What am I getting when I work with you, right? And there's no better way to do it that's free than social media, to put that out there, to give away content, to give away personality. So if you had to narrow it down to a couple words, what do you think your personal brand represents?
My personal brand represents, first of all, integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to help people with one of the most important financial decisions they're going to make. And I want to give them the highest quality service that they can possibly get. Like, I want all the knowledge so that I can help them, so that they can make the best decisions for them, and they can be like happy in the end. I want a happy client who has what they want and need. It's their needs that matter, not mine. So I want to give them what they need in the best possible way possible. World-class service, that's what I take it to. So that is, and with integrity. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to stoop. I'm not going to lie. I'm not, I like to sleep at night. So
right. A lot of people don't.
Yeah. I want them to be able to do whatever is in their best interest, and I will get them that.
Mm. And I think it's safe to say that radiates from you. I mean, that's the impression you get, and that's also the impression you get from your videos too, because it's real, it's you. This is who you are, right? So how do you come up with content and information to post?
So I have a lot of different, I go online. Mm-hmm. I do a lot with Keeping Current Matters. They have content that I can just pull from. It's super easy. I pay to join them. It's not that expensive. And I pull content from there. Or somebody will come to me with a question. So if somebody has a question, then I will go find great information about that. I will share what I have and know about. So sometimes it's questions from people. Keeping Current Matters is a really great resource for me. Mm-hmm. And that's Reminder Media helps. But there's so much out there. All you have to do is Google. But you've got to kind of read through different things to make sure everything is legit and accurate. I mean, you've got National Association of Realtors, Michigan Association of Realtors, RealComp. There's different areas where we want legit resources, right? We want quality information that we're giving that's not just made up in Stephanie's head. Right. I want numbers and information that I can share what is really going on in the market. So there is a Facebook Live that goes out every Monday morning where realtors come from all over the country and they sit, and it's just like a 5-minute deep or a 15-minute deep dive into what's going on in real estate. And I sit in on that I make sure I'm there every Monday morning so that I can see kind of what's going on in the whole country. And there's realtors from all over, and they give us insights into what's going on in the market. How can we better serve our clients? So I make sure that those 15 minutes are protected.
That's a good idea.
Monday morning. Yeah.
We should do something like that.
Yeah. It's really, it's good. It's good stuff. So then I have content if I need content, but it gives me really great information to take to people that I'm working with, or to my clients, or to somebody who I know has been thinking about or wondering. It gives me really great, the latest and greatest information, because remember, I want to be at the top of my game. If I'm going to do this job, I'm going to be the best at what I do. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm striving for. So I want to be able to take that latest and greatest, so that as the market, we've been shifting. Like since last summer, we have been shifting, and it's just kind of what is it doing? What are interest rates doing? What is the market doing? Some areas are great, some areas aren't, depending on where you are in the country. And I want to be able to guide my clients the best possible way so that they can make the best decisions for themselves.
But that's it, though. You got to get the information. You have to have the knowledge to produce that, right? Otherwise, you just, what proof? What validation do you have if you can't even provide stats on what's going on in the market?
Right. Well, and we can take a deep dive into our own MLS, and we
Mhm.
can pull those numbers. What's going on in Genesee County or Oakland County or Macomb County or wherever people are,
Yeah.
and find out, because we need to be able to educate our clients, right? We need to be able to say home values look to be doing this, or they've done that, and what are the shifts? How many days on market do we have? Like what is going on? So it's really important as realtors that we know that and understand it and can be able to communicate that to our clients.
Well, it's part of our responsibility in our customer service, right?
Right.
How can you go out and present to someone and they ask you what's going on in the market? Yeah, it's good. What does that mean? Show me the information, show me the market stats, show me the inventory level, show me average days on market, show me average sales price. Otherwise, what is that? Okay, I'm just going to trust you. Like, that's ridiculous.
And national headlines can be scary,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
the market is crashing. The market's not crashing.
No, it's clickbait.
The market's not, it's not crashing. The whole foreclosure thing from 2008, it's so different. They have changed everything. Everything is different now. That is not the case. But when you look at national headlines, so it's on us to be able to know and understand what is going on here, where we are and where we are serving our clients, so that they don't panic and they can understand and they can say, hey, it is a great time to buy or sell, or nope, not for me right now.
Mm-hmm.
I need to just kind of sit back where I'm at for now. So they need to be able to make those decisions. We need to be able to know and understand the market so that we can help them make those decisions.
Yeah.
That's really important.
And a lot of it, too, is going 2-3 questions deeper, right? Because if you have a buyer, for example, a lot of buyers are freaked out by interest rates because we've been spoiled over the last 5-10 years of having ridiculously low interest rates, right? Which was not sustainable. But if you zoom out, and we've talked about this for the team, over the last 50 years, the average interest rate was between 7 and 8%. So if you look at where we're at now, which is around that 7% anyway, that's average. And when you're talking to a buyer, you shouldn't be so focused on the interest rate. You should say, okay, well, what do you want your monthly payment to be? Like, what do you want your monthly number to be? And if I can get you into a home that you want to be in at that monthly number, what would stop you from buying it?
That's what matters.
That's what matters.
That's what matters.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said this before, that interest rates are lower than when I bought my first home. They're still lower than when I bought my first home.
Yeah.
And interest rate on renting is still 100%. None of that money is coming back to you.
Nope.
You're creating nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It is all going away, and you need somewhere to live. So do you want to give all your money away? I mean, everybody deserves a safe and happy place to live. And whatever that looks like for people is great for them. Some people want to or need to be renters. That is totally great for them. Some people want or need to be in a home. And that is where I come in, and I can help those people, but they need the information to be able to decide when it's right and, now it's right. Why would they want to be a renter when they can be gaining equity in a home? It just it's oftentimes better financial decisions. It's going to make you money.
Yeah.
So, but everybody has a different set of circumstances, and my job is to educate them and then help them get them what they need.
That's it right there, though. We're not supposed to tell people how to make decisions. We're there to provide them with the options,
Right.
And say, hey, based on your circumstances, what option makes the most sense for you?
Right.
Not just say, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this. No, here are the options. You got to decide what makes sense for you.
I mean, I don't think I'm a pushy person. I'm just here when they're ready, because we all need a place to live.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, most people want to be in a home, and that's where I come in. And I can be the one, and I want to be the one to be able to help get them what they want. So we just need to be ready, willing, and able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you buy, and rates go down, you refinance.
Yes.
Like, it's not like you're stuck there forever.
Yes.
You're going to refinance. So you're really not, the monthly payment is what we should be focusing on with buyers. What do you want to have to be comfortable monthly? And if I can get you into a home at that rate, would you buy it? Absolutely. And now that, like we've talked about, inventory levels are slowly starting to rise, they were still below 2 months of inventory, which is nothing. But as that happens, buyers are going to have more options, which means sellers have to be more competitive, which means that buyers can start asking for concessions again. They can do buy down programs with lenders. They can ask for points down. So there are options out there for you, but that's where being a professional comes in, because any buyer can just say, yeah, I don't want to buy right now because rates are too high. And 99% of agents say, okay, and never call them again. You got to explore that and find out, okay, well, why do you think they're too high? What do you want to be at monthly? What options can we do to provide you to see if we can get you into a home now?
Right. There are tools for buyers. There are tools for sellers. So it's more than just an interest rate. There's a huge picture that comes into play, with maybe appraisal guarantees if you're looking, or escalation clauses if you're on the buyer side, or seller can offer, those buy downs or concessions. Like there are ways to get deals done so that everybody can be happy and everybody has what they need.
Yep.
But it takes an experienced or knowledgeable agent to be able to explain that. And that's where that knowledge really comes in, and a desire to really help your client so that you can take the moment and dive a little deeper with them and not just say, okay, you're not ready, see ya, but to really educate them so that they can get what they need. My goal is to help them get what they need, whatever that is and however that looks. So they need information. My job is to give them information and then guide them through the process.
Absolutely. And the information is out there, so everyone can have access to it. There's thousands and thousands of sources of information. And I asked Bob this question the other day, and I'm curious to hear your answer too. I use the word laziness, but I'll change it because whatever. So do you think the majority of agents, because like the agent failure rate is close to 90% over 3 years.
No, that's sad.
So do you think it is a lack of understanding of what is actually required, or do you think it's a lack of motivation of doing the things that they know they need to do but don't do them?
It's probably a little of both. And I think it's not understanding. I think the majority of it is going to be not understanding that they really need to do more. They need to be more. They need to understand more so that they can help their people. So it's not just get a license and stick a sign in the yard and you sell a home. And there is so much more. That is just the tiniest bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is so much more to it. This is the real estate market. This is housing. It's a big deal. This is where people spend the majority of their lives. And we need to be able to have the wherewithal to be able to do all of the things that we need to get them there, and not, people think real estate is easy, and it's not. It's not easy.
God.
It takes
It's
so much
not.
work. I had in my head, and I worked in commercial real estate, but I had in my head it was very different than what it is. It was nothing like I thought it was going to be. But it's so much better, and there's so much more to it, and there's so much more complexity. So people need to be able to work, and if you're not a self-motivator, real estate might not be for you, because you need to get up every day and do your things. Like, you are your own boss. Nobody's telling you what to do. You have to set your schedule, and you have to be consistent in what you're doing. Like, you have to be able to do you. And that sometimes takes people a few minutes. Like, it takes a minute to get figured out.
Oh,
like
yeah.
What is, and I'm always tweaking, well, I need to time block that better because I'm not scheduling enough time to do this or that. So I'm always adapting so that I can improve and be better. But you better be a self-motivator. If you're not a self-motivator, real estate might not be for you.
That's it, though, because if you're not a self-motivator, there's nobody following you around telling you what you need to do, and a lot of people need that. And I cringe every time I hear this, because agents will say, I got into business because I want to have freedom of flexibility. I want to have my own schedule. That's great, but the first 2 to 3 years, you ain't having that. You got to get your butt into gear and build your business up. You're going to be working more than you would if you were a 9 to 5 to get your business off the ground in the first couple years.
Well, and you have to.
You have to.
Because nobody knows you're your own marketing. You are your own. You've got to find your own business. You have to do your own things. And what we know is that what you do now will come to fruition in 3 months.
Yeah.
So I'm working now for what's going to happen 3 months from now. So if you want a consistent income and you want consistent, work, you have to keep working. And yeah, there is some flexibility. If I want to go take an afternoon and go do a family thing or something, I can absolutely do that. But we work when our clients aren't working. So we need to be very flexible for them, because that's when they're available. That's when we need to be available. So it's nights and weekends and weird times, and that's what we signed up for.
Yeah.
That's part of it. We're working when they're not working.
Yeah, minimum 40 hours a week, if not ideally 50 to 60 hours for your first couple years in the business. That will help you get up and running faster. And to that point, once you start to get established and you start to get some consistency of business flowing, you can start putting guidelines and parameters in place like you have.
Yes.
And kind of share about how we helped you put some balance in your life by getting a weekly shutdown time every week, every day.
Yeah, I was not good at shutting down. My husband was very unhappy because I was working till all hours of the night trying to get work done. And that wasn't working. That was no good. And then he had some big health issues come up, and I realized that I needed to definitely make him more of a priority because I almost lost him. So that needed to be much more of a priority. And so now when you call, you will get my voicemail.
I've heard it, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I say, thank you for calling. If you were calling after 7 p.m. or on Saturday, I will call you the next business day, as this time is returned or is reserved for family. Mm-hmm. So after 7 p.m., I don't take calls. I mean, if there's a need, of course I'm going to, but no, I don't technically work after 7. There are times that I do, but I set a cutoff so that I have family time. So Sundays and after 7 p.m. is family time. I mean, there are exceptions, but those are exceptions and not the rule. I don't just do it all of the time. But I set that expectation for my clients, and they know. So, and when somebody calls and gets that message, if they feel special, if I'm calling them after 7, they're like, hey, I know you don't work, but, and they're appreciative and they're grateful. And then, it makes me want to help them a little more because they're appreciative of me. But I set those boundaries and those expectations.
Because that expectation is set. That's all the difference in the world right there.
Yes.
And, if you're making $100, $200, $300, $500,000 a year, but you're miserable and you're working 70 hours a week and you have no time for family and you have no time for anything else, then what the hell is the point, right? So I remember you came to me because you took off. You got super busy.
Yes.
And you're like, this is great, but I'm suffering personally. Like you said, Tony, don't worry, I got you. Things were happening and you were doing great business-wise, but personally there was no balance.
I wasn't as happy as I thought I should be because it was all
because you're all in like work mode.
Yes,
you're always
all
just
the time.
stressed.
And we'd be out to dinner and on the phone. It was just not. It wasn't right.
It's not sustainable.
I had not set those boundaries, and I have now set those boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And it isn't that hard to do. You just have to make the decision to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I felt bad initially, like I'm not going to be as available. But that took 5 minutes, and I was over it. And I am much happier now.
Absolutely, because you have some balance. And so when we set her 7 o'clock shutoff time, I would test her every now and then. And I'd text her like 7:05, 7:10 to see if she responded, and she never did.
No.
She didn't.
No.
So that's the discipline that comes into it, though, because when you commit to something, it sounds great in theory, but you have to implement and execute and stay consistent with it. Otherwise, it's useless.
Right. Well, and it's not as hard as you think it's going to be.
Nope.
And like I said, there are exceptions. There's deadlines. There's things that come into play, but that is very much the exception and not the rule. And I am much happier, and my husband is much happier.
Good.
So that's good.
That's what's most important, right? So because we're talking to a couple hundred agents here, what advice would you give to help them grow their business and create some balance and sustainability this year?
So I would, first of all, to grow your business, I would say just talk to people, have conversations, and you're not trying to sell anybody anything, because in my head, initially, that's what I was.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is to help people, but really, I'm just a relationship person. And I really, when I say, how are you doing? I want to know, how are you doing?
You mean it.
Yeah. And it has nothing to do with work. It's all about those personal connections. So that is what I really want to do. So just talk to everyone. And your business is going to grow because as you talk, and it's okay to talk to strangers. I think I told you I talked to the people at Panera, whatever, and the guy behind me.
Share that story, please, because that's a great story.
So I had been sitting with I met somebody in the Sam's Club parking lot, and she was trying to get me to come into her business, and that just wasn't for me. But we had met at Panera and to have this conversation, and we finished up, and she left, and I turned to the guy behind me who I knew had heard our whole conversation, and I'm like, oh, she just really wanted me to join her or whatever, and but I asked him what he was doing. He had a laptop, he was doing his things. He told me, we had a conversation about his job. Then I said, I'm in real estate. And he says, oh, I've been looking I think we're ready to buy a home. And I picked up a buyer because I had a conversation at Panera with the guy who had been sitting behind me, and he was just there working, and I just started up a conversation with him. I wasn't looking to go, hey, do you know anyone looking to buy or sell real estate? Right. It was just like, oh, who do you work for? He had a stack of papers, and he works in the food industry, and we were talking about what's going on in the food. It was just a conversation with somebody about nothing. And then, oh, yeah, I'm in real estate. Oh, really? Oh, well, yeah, great. So now he's working on getting pre-approved and, getting his ducks in a row so that he can buy his first home with his family. You just have to talk to people.
That's it. Opportunities are everywhere around us all day long, but 9 out of 10 people would not have talked to that guy. They wouldn't have talked, and they just left.
Well, and that's, I don't know. I'm a chatty person, which is helpful because yes. I will talk too much. But I picked up another client at the grocery store by seeing what they had in their cart, and I suggested something that they should buy, and they bought a home.
It's unbelievable.
And I'm not talking real estate. I'm helping, oh, you should, whatever. And they went and got whatever, and then we had a conversation, and they're like, oh, we just really want to buy a house. And I'm like, oh, I can help you with that. So they're going to be selling here in 2 more years. So you just have to talk to people. So my advice for new agents is it's okay to talk to people and find information. If you don't know what to talk about, first of all, just ask how people are.
Yeah.
And, they'll say, well, how are you? And it's like, oh, great. Business is, and you can just talk about, hey, I'm working, I've started a new career. You can just casually bring it up. It's not a hardcore sell. Yeah. You just have to be you. Be you, because people are going to want to work with people they feel comfortable with. So just talk to people, and then set your own boundaries, whatever they look like for you. But you've got to put the time in. So you've got to do the work. You have to do the work to get to where you want to be, because it took me a couple of years to really get going.
Yeah.
And my husband, he said, this is a really expensive hobby, Stephanie. And I'm like, it's going to get there. It's going to get there. Because I'm like, yeah, you're paying all your fees and dues and everything. And now I'm there. So, and I'm loving it. And he's loving it because he feels like, hey, pressure's taken off and we can play and do more things and help our kids and do much more than we ever could when I was the stay-home mom. And, he makes a good living, but I bring a lot of freedom that we didn't have before. There's a lot more that we can do now that we couldn't do before because he works and because I work. And I really love what I do.
Absolutely.
It's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
So,
but there's a difference between treating it like a hobby and treating it like a business.
You've got to be structured, and you have to be self-motivated, and you have to be able, time blocking is key. Put things in your phone, set alerts or alarms, or have a schedule on a whiteboard, do something, but set your schedule so that you know what you're doing at what time of day. And then you can adjust that. If you wind up having showings one day, you can adjust and move that to another time, but you still have to move it to another time so that it gets done. Mm-hmm. So you need to figure out what's going to work for you and then stick to it.
That's it.
Tenacity is key.
Tenacity, relentlessness, just you got to be disciplined.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And so when you shifted over and now you have a business, what has that allowed you guys to do? Like what you've been vacationing, you've been taking trips, you bought a travel trailer.
I bought a travel trailer. And I say this because, I was always the stay-home mom, and Tony always had the income, and I bought the travel trailer. Like Stephanie did it, all on Stephanie. And that felt so good. Because
Didn't you pay for it in cash too?
Not all cash.
Okay.
It's got a little, I put a big down payment on that thing.
Yeah.
That was pretty impressive. So that was huge. But, like I said, we almost lost my husband 2 years ago. And so he became more of a priority. So last year we played a lot. We camped a lot. I took 4 vacations. Like in addition to that, I took 4 vacations.
Yeah.
So it was.
Yeah.
that freedom and ability to go enjoy. You work really hard. When I work really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And, there are long hours. Like when I work, I'm working. But when I play, I'm playing. And it's fun. And the playing makes all that work absolutely worth it. That work gives me the freedom to be able to go and have fun and to be able to do family things and take my daughter places and do all the things that you've been really wanting to do and just haven't been able to.
Well, you've earned freedom.
Yeah. And it's lovely. And I don't want to let that go. It's so worth it. So I get to help people, and I work hard. And I get to work with people mostly that I know, but
Mm-hmm.
they all become people I know, and they all become my sphere. But then I get to go play. Like I have the best of both worlds. I am blessed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this. It's difficult. It's very difficult to go from, 2 to 6 million, but it's even more difficult to stay at that threshold.
Yeah.
And once you get a taste of what it's like to be up there, you ain't going back.
No. And no, you're correct. That is correct. I'm not going back because I like what that gets me and gets my family.
Mm-hmm.
Like it makes life so much more enjoyable, and I get to spend time doing things that I enjoy. And that, I mean, who doesn't want that?
Can't beat it.
Yeah.
Can't beat it.
It's so nice.
Absolutely. Well, we're closing in on an hour. So
That went fast.
I know. Well, we talked about a bunch. So any final thoughts or anything else you want to throw out there for everybody?
Just you be you. You do you.
Be genuine.
Be genuine. Yeah. And talk to people. Just be who you are and talk to those people around you.
Yeah.
Build those relationships and just, so that you're top of mind with people. And really and then just work. Like work hard, set your schedule, and do the things that you need to do, and step out of your comfort zone just a little bit, because that's where you're going to grow, and that's where you're going to start to see success, and you're going to start to climb, and it's amazing. And it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay. And you're going to be all right. You're going to survive it.
Yep.
But just, you be you, build those relationships, set your schedule, and just get out of your comfort zone. And you're going to be great. It's going to be awesome.
Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yes.
It's necessary.
Yes. And it's hard to do initially. And then once you realize it, you're like, okay, I got this. Mm-hmm. I can do this. And then you're better to do it the next time. It gets easier.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're super busy. I hope you guys got a lot of value out of it. Let us know what you think. And you're the best. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex.
Absolutely.
Alrighty.
All right. See you guys.